That's not what's happening, and this bill will ensure that it doesn't. Kia ora.
Holly Walker.
It's māngai o te whare tēnā koe, tuarua ki ngā memo o tō tātou whare tēnā koutou katoa. Tuatoru mihi atu ki te wiki o te reo Māori, aroha tia te reo rangatira, tēnā koutou katoa. I'm pleased to rise in the first reading of the Families Commission Amendment Bill to support my colleague Denise Roach in articulating the Green Party's position on the future of the Families Commission, Te Komihana a whānau. The Green Party will be opposing this bill at the first reading. We have an interesting history with the Families Commission because we did in fact oppose its original creation in 2003. We saw it then as an unnecessary additional bureaucracy created to meet the demands of a political agreement between the then Labour government and United Future without meeting the urgent needs of New Zealand children and families. And I think it's probably fair to say that the history of the Families Commission since then, in terms of its relationship to various coalition agreements, has continued on the same track. We expressed at the time our concern about a lack of clarity in the role and function of the Commission, and I guess in some ways that lack of clarity may have led now to this government bill, which seeks to streamline and make more efficient the functions of the Commission. However, we cannot support the changes outlined in this bill, and we share many of the serious concerns outlined by the Labour members in this debate. For the Green Party, however, these concerns are significant enough for us to be voting against this bill at the first reading stage. I want to address the issue of research and the quality of government social research and the supposed need for a new family status report that will now be produced annually if this bill is passed into law. And I'd like to echo the concerns that Jacinda Ardern raised earlier in the debate about the social report and Brian Perry's excellent Household Incomes in New Zealand report, both very comprehensive, high-quality reports on the status of families and children across a range of social and economic indicators produced by the Ministry of Social Development. Now, where these were once released with some fanfare, they now appear unceremoniously on the MSD website once a year, or in the case of the social report, now only once every 3 years. And I have significant concerns about the future of this important research when the work currently performed by the Centre of Social Research and Evaluation in MSD is now, under this bill, to be subsumed into the newly altered Families Commission. I also question the additional value of a new family status report in addition to the existing research from MSD and from a huge range of other organisations and academics that produce high quality research on the well-being of children and families. And I think I would probably speak for many thousands of New Zealanders when I say that I think we're getting sick of more and more reports telling us how bad things are for our children and impatient for genuine cross-party action to end child poverty and reduce inequality in New Zealand. And I don't see this bill as helping that agenda in any way. Mr Speaker, the Green Party is also concerned at the restructuring of functions away from the Ministry of Social Development and towards the oversight of a new advisory panel in this bill. And this, I think, is part of a trend that we're seeing towards ministerially appointed advisory groups dictating our social policy in New Zealand. And it's nothing to be celebrated. First we had the Welfare Working Group, then we had the recently announced Welfare Reform Board, and now we have a social science expert panel. And I have to question, Mr Speaker, whether in fact there's a job for Paula Rebstock
sorry to interrupt
in
the
this
member.
bill
The time
as well.
has come for the dinner break. I shall resume the chair at 7:30.